Hey,
We're live.
welcome back to Adobe live from OFF in Barcelona. The it's a creative conference, right? How would you describe OFF?
Celebrate creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah, full of energy.
All right, so we just finished doing a keynote here at OFF. Me and Erin Kim and Kim Pimmel, who both work at Adobe as designers, and it was super interesting to see how they use their creativity to actually also build the tools that we're using every day, or which we are going to be using every day. So in the next hour, we will not have a portfolio review. We will be talking with Erin and Kim, and I will also show you a sneak peek of a feature that we're exploring in Adobe Illustrator, and I hope you will find it very interesting. Maybe we're going to do that like in the middle, like at 5:30, let's say at 5:30, sneak peek. Erin, give us a little introduction. Who are you? What do you do at Adobe?
Hi, I'm a senior product designer of Adobe Dimension. If you haven't heard of the tool, it is a 3D visualization tool for people who might not know 3D that well. So that's what I do. I actually design the experience of 3D software.
All right. Kim?
And I'm Kim Pimmel, and I'm a designer, product designer like Erin, on Project Aero, which is Adobe's new app to let you put things into augmented reality and add some interactivity and create in AR for the first time.
Yeah. Maybe some of you have seen, like when we presented that at Adobe Max back in November, was it? October?
Oh yeah, last year.
November, last year, anyway, October, November, I don't remember. But we presented Project Aero, and it's really an incredible way to, a little bit like Dimension, you know, like with the simplicity in mind for creative professionals that maybe don't have the coding expertise to do augmented reality, to actually, create some very interesting, how do you call them, spaces?
Oh, scenes.
Scenes, yeah okay. So like I said, we just finished the keynote here at OFF, and one of the topic that we had as a fil rouge, do you say that in English? The red ribbon.
Oh, I haven't heard of that phrase.
No, it's the red ribbon that ties everything together.
Okay.
Yeah, le fil rouge. Yes. Oh, and of course, hello in the chat, Ite Bats, Boyana, Tim is here. Hey, yay, sneak. We have a sneak, Tim. Stefan is here. Do one Kim know the date? The what? I don't know. Stefan, I didn't get that joke. Does one Kim know the date? Do you get that joke?
The date.
The date? The date? I don't know. Anyway, Eduardo, greetings to you. Kevin Worth. Oh, Kevin remembers. And yeah, I saw that. Cool. Okay, yeah, okay. So basically, an Adobe Dimension is something that you can use every day. It's already in Adobe Creative Cloud. I'm using it all the time to actually apply textures on 3D objects and place them into 2D images. So what were we talking about during the keynote? Mostly about how the impact of artificial intelligence and also machine learning in creativity. So we have a couple of slides here that I can show you. We're going to go through the slides quickly, and maybe a little bit more quickly than during the keynote. But basically, what I was aiming to do here, especially in the presentation, is to talk about creativity in the age of artificial intelligence. And what I was thinking about is that, we're all scared that artificial intelligence will take away our creativity, maybe take away our jobs. And there's some data in this presentation that you might find interesting, and and also some insight to understand better what artificial intelligence actually is. So, when I talk about creativity in the age of artificial intelligence, mostly I'm talking about creativity in a broader sense. It's not only the creativity, that intentional creativity, the creativity that you use when you have an intention and you want to make something, and that's let's say normal creativity, like to do something. But there's also other types of creativity, such as situational creativity. And situational creativity is something that that helps you solve a problem that when you're in an unfamiliar situation, and you use that type of creativity to solve a problem in a specific situation. Then we also have inspirational creativity, and that, on the other hand, is driven by the desire to realize a vision. Okay, so that's where your inspiration, your ideas come together, and you want to illustrate a vision in unexpected and engaging ways. The third type of creativity that I was talking about is the executional creativity, and that's the creativity we use every day to actually execute our ideas and to find solutions to better create those ideas, whether through software or painting or manual labor. It's all sorts of things that we have to think about when we use that creativity. So to better understand this, the impact of artificial intelligence with creativity, we asked Andreas Pfeiffer of Pfeiffer Reports to actually do a qualitative study of what this all means. And I'm going to be sharing some results with you in just a second. I'm going to move a little bit faster. So artificial intelligence, of course, is the it's just the development of computer systems to actually perform tasks that normally require human interaction or intelligence, let's say, but not the tasks not the creative tasks in that sense. And you will hear me say that over and over again today, is that it's basically the tasks that are repetitive, that are tedious, that that we don't really want to do, and that's where artificial intelligence can come in very, very handy. And then machine learning is something that Kim will talk about in his slides a little bit as well. It's really algorithms and building a mathematical model that that samples data, mostly large amounts of data, and is able then to make decisions or predictions upon that big data. Let's say, okay, the big data.
It's big.
The big data. So artificial intelligence and machine learning, but what you really want from technology and is really to get the job done. Okay, so technology should really be there to help in that, to get the job done, and that doesn't include the creative part. The creative part are the ideas, are the ideation, the sketches, and your inspiration. So basically, it's help with the tedious tasks. So we asked a whole bunch of creative professionals across Europe and North America about artificial intelligence and creativity. And the first question, I'm going to share 3 results with you, and 3 results that I found very, very interesting. Is how much of your time do you actually spend on repetitive and tedious tasks? And a staggering 74% of the respondents actually said, I spend more than 50% on tasks that I don't like, it's like repetitive stuff. It's like, unless you like repetitive stuff, like meditational clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking a gazillion times, this is something where artificial intelligence could come in very handy. The second question is if these creative professionals feel that it would be a great thing to have artificial intelligence as a head start of their projects, or helping them through the process, through the various types of creativity. And again, a vast majority said, yes, I think that would be very interesting and helpful if a machine, a computer, an algorithm could help me with all the things that don't require my full attention or my full creativity. And then the question, are we afraid of artificial intelligence and machine learning? You know, the media are very keen on depicting artificial intelligence and machine learning as, you know, like taking our jobs away and being like, it's going to rebel against us, and we have a gazillion movies again like that can help us understand that concept of us going extinct because of artificial intelligence. But this is really not the reality, and I'm glad that 73% of the respondents actually said, no, we're not afraid. You know, like artificial intelligence is not going to take away our creative jobs. So, all of this just to introduce to you that the fact is that Adobe is already using a lot of artificial intelligence in many of our products, and we call it Adobe Sensei. We don't call it artificial intelligence. We have a name for it. We call it Adobe Sensei, and basically we use that artificial intelligence in Creative Cloud, in Document Cloud, and also in the Experience Cloud. I always forget the Experience Cloud. Yeah. Do you guys work on the Experience Cloud?
I've never worked on the Experience Cloud.
Oh, Creative Cloud all the way. Yeah. Okay. So basically, in the next few slides, you will see that we're already applying artificial intelligence to a lot of features. For example, content-aware fill in Photoshop, or very recently, just a few weeks ago, we introduced content-aware fill in video using After Effects. So being able to select an area of video that you want to eliminate, and the algorithm goes frame by frame and uses content-aware fill and fills the frame and removes an image from the video, which is pretty cool.
That's definitely an example of like saving clicks, because in the past, that would be a whole lot of clicking paths and rotoscoping.
That's what we call rotoscoping, right?
So it's super time saver.
Yeah. So if you're using After Effects or work on videos, check it out, because this is a real time saver. And this is thanks to Adobe Sensei, you know, like using that artificial intelligence. So yeah, so these features are not built to, you know, to take your jobs away. These features are actually created to make your life easier. And I think this is how we should all view and embrace artificial intelligence in creativity. So yeah, I'm going to talk about the sneak in a second, but let's go on with Erin. And Erin, I want talk about your experience and maybe browse through your slides and you know, make a short version of the maybe not even so short. You have all the time you want. Okay. The show is yours.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction. Hi, I'm Erin Kim. I'm a senior product designer at Adobe Dimension team, if you haven't heard the introduction yet. So let me actually tap this slide. Okay. So if you haven't seen what Dimension looks like, this is our starter screen. If you don't know what Dimension is, it actually is a 3D visualization tool for people who are not necessarily 3D experts. And when I tell you I designed the experience of 3D software, you might think that I'm an expert in everything from in and out of 3D.
But you are an expert in everything.
Oh, no, I'm not. So not true. I'm still learning a lot. I actually come from a very strict 2D traditional graphic design background. Yeah, so even the concept of AR that Kim is working on, or VR, or 3D was something really foreign to me. And I'm going to just show you this image because it's kind of scary, but also interesting. This is the very first VR headset that was available to us. It was called, do you remember the name that I said?
Of course I remember, but I won't steal your thunder.
Okay. So the name is Sword of Damocles, the Sword of Damocles. It is a really daunting name. And there was a reason why it was named after a sword. If you don't know what the sword is, it is actually referring to the sword that is hanging on top of a servant, hung by the king to teach him the lesson of the life-threatening accident that he has to always bear in his life. And there was a reason why it was named after this scary sword. It was because the headset was so heavy that no human head could stand its weight. So it was that kind of scary thing. And even when you look at the VR headset that is available right now, it is definitely lightweight, so you can actually wear it without having to hang it on the pole.
And like I was mentioning the Oculus Go just a minute ago, and to Kim, it's like it's super light actually.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's
It is getting there.
It's getting better.
it's getting there.
But still, to me, when I looked at this a couple of years ago again, it was kind of, I don't know if I want to put that on my head. That looks a little bit daunting. Or what about the AR content?
Well, one thing is for sure, you don't want to put it on your head in big trade shows where all the people are putting it on their heads.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And
no.
like you get all the diseases from other people.
Oh, yeah. And of course, because you have the vision hidden, you will bump into each other. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And what about the content that is out there for these platforms? Well, I know everyone plays Pokemon Go, and I actually love Pikachu. It's so cute when I see that thing moving around, but I just don't play games. So it's something very irrelevant to me.
But I admit, I too downloaded it. I don't play Pokemon, but I found it cool that you would see things in AR.
Yeah, I actually love those characters. I only see the characters, but don't play games.
I like this character.
Oh yeah, I love this one too.
What's this one's name?
I forgot, but that was actually on my
you know what?
Facebook
I'm
site.
pretty sure the chat will tell us what the name is
Oh
in
yeah,
a second.
please let us know
Yeah.
if you know the
You
character
go ahead,
name.
and the chat will tell us.
Yeah, but the reason why I'm showing you this GIF is because that was my response when I heard the word 3D or VR or AR. And I think many of the graphic designers still feels that way because they always say, okay, maybe.
Slowpoke.
Oh yeah.
No, that's the name.
Oh, Slowpoke.
Slowpoke.
Yeah.
Slowpoke. Is
Yeah.
it slow? Is that right?
Yeah, maybe like.
Oh yeah, very much like me. I'm
Nah,
always
come
slow
on.
to adapt to new technology like that. But yeah, so this is the response of graphic designer. Like they're like, maybe I will be slow to adapt to this new technology, but not just right now. Not right now. But is that really true? That's what I wanted to talk at the conference. So if you go to the next slide, let's get back to this scary looking
And it
sort of
was really
Democrat.
hanging
Yes, it was hanging.
from the ceiling. You see, like it was attached to all of these things. So it's just like the spade of Damocles.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's scary looking. Yeah, so there was a reason why this device was invented. It was not because they wanted to play some Pokemon Go, but because they wanted to solve a problem. So it was an attempt to help helicopter pilot land at night by automatically moving their low light camera in sync with their head movement. So this type of technology was invented because there was a problem to solve, which is help us visualize a situation that is physically very challenging to make it happen.
There's a note from Stefan. He says, the day Pokemon Go was launched was the nearest we were in world peace. Everyone was hunting and having fun. Impressive.
Oh yeah, the power of creativity. It puts everyone in peace.
That's right, Stefan.
Oh yeah. Let's get back to this sword of Damocles. So like the way that this technology was invented to help us a problem, that problem is actually something that graphic designers actually go through every day. And I wanted to show you an example of what type of problem we are talking about. So if you know American fashion brand Fossil, they make all kind of crazy, cool-looking fashion accessories. And one of the cool things that they also make is their watches. I really love their watch design. And it is also shipped with this cool-looking tin can that you can see on the right side. And not only this is really cool to look at, and this is something really iconic to Fossil. So when you actually visit their store or their headquarters, there will be this amazing wall filled with tin cans that you can just walk and just amazed at how amazing this graphic design is. But this wasn't the easiest to make for their graphic designers. So the process was something like this. They would design in Illustrator using their illustration template, and then they actually had to print it out on a piece of paper, and then physically map it around in the existing tin can so that when they review design, they can actually look at it from all different angles. And you can see how they did it on the bottom left corner.
Yeah.
And the problem is,
Mock-ups.
it's fine, it looks great, but it's not quite right, because your graphic will be printed on the metal can, not necessarily on the paper. And also, every time you update your design, just having to mock it up again and again, it's not fun to do that at all.
I mean, that's totally how I felt doing graphic design, having to, print something out, cut it out with an X-Acto, and fold it, and then it's not right. And then you have to print it out again and cut it again. It's so much tedious work, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't look the way you think it should in the final thing.
Yeah, I had to do this type of internship a lot at graphic design firm too, so I actually sympathize a lot with this problem. So when they were introduced to this software, Adobe Dimension, they were really excited at the idea of being able to look at their graphic from all different angles in our app like this, and then also you can see how the light is affecting your graphic. That's something really cool that you can really do in 2D. Oh, it actually, this is the right slide. I thought I jumped into the wrong slide.
Oh, no.
Now I'm back. Okay, great. So this is something that we heard from Fossil after they learned Adobe Dimension. They were saying, oh my God, it's so exciting that we don't have to spend so much time making the paper markup. We now can focus more on designing the important stuff. And that's the type of help that we want to offer through 3D software. And this is just a scene markup that someone was able to create with Dimension. It's just not the product itself that you can visualize in Dimension. You can actually create the entire scene with 3D object, but also with photography like this. So the beauty here is that Neverdrove was able to create this entire scene without having to photo shoot them with like cooking the sandwich and bringing the light setting of the scene. It will be a lot of work if you have to physically do that. But he just combined this amazing can object with just 2D photography in our app.
That's actually a good idea for stock photographers out there, is to start creating photos with empty spaces where other things can be placed. Just ding. Okay, go ahead.
Just like you said, he actually shows how powerful this thing can be. So in order to make all of these variations of scene with all the different ingredients in real life, it will actually take you a few days at least, but all you have to do in Dimension is just swipe out simple stock photography, and there you go, all the variations at your hands. But it's just not simple scene markup that you can do with 3D software. So I'm kind of showing you this crazy looking, amazing artwork that is done by our creative director, whose name is Vlad. I really admire his work. So after,
At Adobe as well.
Oh yes, with our team. I am so fond of his work. So after he rendered this scene in Adobe Dimension, he kind of wanted to show off how cool his spaceship looks all in different angles. The thing is, this is flat graphic, and you can really look at it from different angles. So what he did is he just clicked on this share button, and you can see that there is a function called publish 3D scene. It creates a link to the web viewer that has the object that already you have in the scene. So all you have to do is just copy this link and share it out. So when you get this link, you can see that it launched a web browser. Now what I can do is that I can actually look at it from all the saved camera angle that is already part of the scene, or I can actually look at it in my own pace with my own mouse interaction on the web browser. And this is something that was just mind-blowing for me. In 2D design, this was something that was never possible.
That's really cool. So anyone can see that, like if you send the link to someone, they can open this up. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, and also it works on mobile phone too. So you should definitely check
that's
out.
Really cool. Okay.
Yeah. So you now learn, 3D can be very powerful. It is something relatable to graphic designers, but why Adobe Dimension? Why did Adobe create another tool for 3D software? The reason is because we know that 3D can be very daunting, and you probably have bazillion other apps that you have to use and learn every day. You can't just simply carve out time to learn the entire new area. And that's why we created Adobe Dimension, because we wanted to complement your workflow And we wanted to give you the power of 3D without you having to learn all the crazy things about 3D. So it is really crucial for us to make the app experience as easy as possible. So let me show you some example of why it is easy to use Dimension. Here I have two simple graphics that I want to place in the shopping bag. In order to do that, in traditional 3D app, you have to understand what UV is. If you don't know what UV is, it's like this unwrapped die line version of a 3D object, and it can be very confusing to know like which part of the UV goes actually into my 3D object, and also even if you somehow manage to read the file, some of the UV for complicated 3D object, it's just impossible to understand what's going on.
Yeah, Kate is saying, I need to learn Adobe Dimension. Yes,
oh,
and you will find that it's super easy. Yeah, it's very, very, very straightforward.
Oh yeah, so with Dimension, what you can do is you can simply drag and drop the graphic, and now you can see that it is actually moving around my shopping bag. Let's see if the video shows. Okay. And then you can place multiple graphics at a time, and you can reorder like layer stack in Photoshop. And you can even change the mode so that it actually fills the entire object, and you can manipulate the angle. It's so much easier than having to deal with UV.
That is so cool.
Oh, thank you. And of course, we use machine learning algorithm, like you said, to make the app experience even more delightful. Let's say that I have this car model that I actually want to place in this cool-looking car photography. So traditionally, what you have to do is you place your car in the scene, and then you have photography, and then you kind of have to adjust your camera tool to make sure that the camera that you're looking at with your car is the same as the camera angle that is used to shoot this photography. And even if somehow I kind of managed to get there with the camera perspective, the light that is getting casted on this car is very different from the light that is in the environment, because it's two different things.
So Nunya, no, these models are not available in Adobe Dimension, but you can of course download them either from Adobe Stock or from TurboSquid or whatever, or make them yourselves, or have a coworker do those models in Cinema 4D or whatever your tool of choice is, and then import them as OBJs. OBJs, right?
Yes, OBJ, STL, SKP, and FBX. Oh, and also this car itself is available. It's free model in Adobe Stock.
There's a lot of free models on Adobe Stock as well. But I'm going to stop you for a second because we need to wrap it up a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and I'm just gonna jump over to my computer very quickly, and actually show you guys the sneak peek I was talking about. And basically, I'm just going to close that file again and start from the beginning. Let's not save that. And I have this Illustrator file, and remember, this is a sneak peek. This is a feature that our engineers are exploring right now. It's something that that we're working on, and we think it would be very cool. And it is also using a little bit of artificial intelligence to get it working. So I like a vector graphic here, and just to show you, I'm going to go into outline mode, and you can see that these are all outlines. Back to preview. And if I select it now, I can actually, if this feature will work in one day, if you like it, you have to show me your love in here, that I will be able to import pictures into my Creative Cloud libraries, and the algorithm will automatically detect the main colors of that picture and create a color palette with it, just like we see here, okay? And then I would be able to select my object here and say, okay, what would it look with this type of color? And boom, these colors are applied to the graphic. Or let's see these ones. Oh, that's a nice color combination
cool.
as
I like
well.
That,
yeah, I like that one too. Or let's try the third one. And boom, the colors that are in that picture are applied to the vector graphic. Okay, so that's a new way of recoloring artwork on an Adobe Illustrator. So I'm very, very Curious to hear here in the chat whether you would find this feature useful. And remember, this is a sneak peek. It's not yet in Illustrator. Maybe it will never. Maybe it will. Who knows? It's like I said, it's a sneak peek.
That would save a lot of clicks.
Oh, yeah.
That would save a lot of clicks.
Yeah, that would save a lot of clicks. And again, that's what AI is all about, right? So, very useful, great. Yep, very similar to recolor artwork. Wow, it's great. Okay, great. We're going to move back to the slides, but I'm going to move directly. We're going to cut yours a little bit, if that's fine.
Sure.
And go here. Do we still have? Show my face. Okay, and play. All right. And yes, and maybe if you want to just wrap it up in a couple of words.
Oh, yeah. So the function that I actually didn't get to show you that uses artificial intelligence is a function called match image. So right before your sneak peek, I was trying to help with the camera problem and everything. There is an artificial intelligence, machine learning.
Yeah.
Let's use the correct word. Machine learning based feature called match image.
Yeah.
And once you click the button, it will actually fix all the problem for you.
And you can try that today. Adobe Dimension is there in your Creative Cloud, and you can press that button and see what it does. Not always perfect,
yes,
but it gets you there much faster than unperfect.
Yes, and we actually analyze the scene and see if we can fix it for you or not, so you can actually see that. Very transparent.
Kim, we have exactly about 23,
Okay.
no, we have like 18 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right. Well,
To,
I'll talk about some things.
Yeah?
So let's see here. Do I just press these buttons?
Yeah, just press here.
on
Just press the iPad.
How do these computer things work? I don't know.
And Riz Williams says, thank you, Kim, I'll look into Dimension. Great.
Hi there.
You wanted to see the match image.
Oh, you want to see the match image?
Let's
see the match image.
We can do that.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Let me go to match image.
Okay, so yes, here you are. See the match image, and as soon as I tap on it, it actually analyzes and see if we can fix for you. And in this case, we can fix everything for you. So if you hit OK, you can see that the camera perspective is already corrected.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's generating the light from the scene so that it looks like the car belongs to the environment. All you have to do is just turn around the car so that it's not blocking the road anymore.
And also, Adobe, we can see it a little bit there, but you can really cast some really realistic shadows, which would be super awesome here. You can also tell where the light comes from, and here it's in the back. It almost guessed it, right?
Yeah.
That the light is in the back, and yeah.
So it's looking at the image that's the background for
Yes.
the rendering, right?
Yeah.
And it's trying to understand
Yes.
the shape of the.
Yes, the perspective line and the horizon line, we analyze those hints of where the camera angle is, and then we put the camera position of the scene into the right thing.
So the lines in the road are helping the algorithm understand it's like this
Definitely,
angle.
there's
Yes.
some indication of perspective in that
Yeah,
image.
right.
Yes, yeah.
That's so cool. That's
You've
really
never
handy.
tried it?
I have.
Okay.
I've played around with Dimension. I'll share a few examples.
yeah,
but,
okay.
I'm still learning also.
Awesome. So let's jump over to your presentation.
Okay. Am I the robot or am I the person there? Or maybe
I
they're
don't know.
both
You
robots.
decide. Who are you?
Well, thanks for
Yeah.
having us chat on Adobe Live today. And I'm Kim Pimmel, and I'm a product designer on Project Aero, which is Adobe's new app looking into making AR, augmented reality, available to anyone with a smartphone. I wanted to share a little bit of some personal stories about creativity by starting out with just some art that I do on the side. And I think we all do different things, and I do some short films. So you can see here some of the kind of weird stuff that I've done with macro photography and fluid dynamics and making short films on the side. And that always sparks ideas for me, like intersections and happy accidents always give interesting ideas in different places. And like Erin mentioned, I've also made the jump from 2D to 3D. I started out as a graphic designer, and have had to learn 3D for things like DJing. So I used to DJ back in college, and so this is some kind of questionable typography and 3D rendering, but I was pretty young at the time, and it was a good way to practice and learn new things. And here's some, wow, glow sticks. Wow, that's some raver stuff right there. And here's a really, really terrible render that I did a really long time ago when I was in college, probably like almost 20 years ago now. But this is to show that it takes a lot of effort to make 3D, to do all of the modeling for this and then to texture it. And if I should actually take this and try Dimension and apply textures in Dimension and see how it looks. But that would be a really interesting exercise.
An interesting question from Keida. So could I use Dimension to help with some lighting problems in my 2D art? I could essentially drag in my 2D work and use the AI to cast the proper lighting on my work? Yes? Yes, you could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so. I wish I have a little bit more better context of what lighting problem that he's talking about.
Yes, it's right, because of course the shadow in Dimension is flat. It thinks it's on a flat surface. So
yeah, we have also different type of lighting too.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different from how Illustrator deals with the shading. So it would be great if I can.
But it could give you a good indication of where shadows fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question. I struggle with lighting, and modeling is hard, and rendering and figuring out how to render well is difficult. So Dimension is super helpful for that. The car here would look so much better with Dimension used on it, but this is from way, way long ago.
Do you still have the model?
I think I do, yeah.
Open
Dig
it in
up
Dimension,
and,
check
all right,
it out.
that's my creative challenge.
Yep.
I'll take it on, I'll do that. I'll share it with you, I'll let you know how
yeah.
it goes. Okay, so I've been learning 3D for 3D printing as well, which is a very different kind of modeling, but it's really difficult, right, to make this stuff. And since I work in augmented reality and virtual reality, this is me playing around with virtual reality, using my hands to create, and just a very different way of making 3D stuff. It's not available to everyone, though, and so that's why I think Adobe Aero is really cool, and Dimension is just accessible, right, for people. How do I skip slides?
Skip slides?
Yeah, should I jump to the Aero goodies?
Just use the arrow.
Okay.
Just go through the slides.
Okay. All right. Just jump forward a bit. So I'm going to jump through this stuff, but I'm a photographer and I make short films, and so I've been exploring different types of photography and learning about new things.
You can use this if you want.
Yeah, learning new things. Oh yeah, we'll shift that over there. So this is a 3D photo, and oops, I just tap arrow. There we go. So who doesn't want to see a cute 3D dog splashing around? And so learning lots of new things is something that's important for creatives and designers, right? It takes us a while to figure it out, and so I've learned a lot about photography. And different types of photography, from architecture to fashion. I don't know if this is going to show up on the stream, to macro photography. And sometimes it's just about learning to have the right tool available at the right time. And light painting is something that I've been playing around with, which is waving a light in front of a camera and leaving the shutter open so it catches the light trails. So this is kind of a fun way to create visuals that are really unique and very different. And so I was inspired by 2001: A Space Odyssey. Great film. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's definitely older and it's a bit long and kind of experimental, but I like this crazy scene. This is called the Stargate sequence, where they're kind of going between dimensions or something. Who knows what that movie's about, really, right?
Just to answer one question in the chat, how would you use Dimension to create your own photograph? All of these, what I invite you to do is to here on Behance, just search for images that were created with Dimension, so you get a good idea of what people are making with Dimension, and and inspire you from there.
So let's see, I'm going to jump forward a little bit here. Is that cool? How much time do we have? 10 minutes left?
We have a hard stop at 50.
Okay, I'm going to jump forward to some product stuff here. I think that's going to be more exciting for the viewers here. So I'm going to skip forward. Do you know how to bring up the navigator? I'm just going to, we're gonna fast forward really fast here.
Or we can escape and go to the right side.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Where?
Let's see, go to the Aero
This
bit.
one?
Hang on.
You want this one?
No. Maybe not be as useful for the folks watching the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? I think it's a very fun story.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what's this thing?
What is this thing?
This is like the sword of Damocles that Erin was mentioning.
Pimmel?
This is a headset that you wear on your head, and it lets you see virtual content in the real world. This is the Microsoft HoloLens. I worked on this project for a little while, a couple years before being here at Adobe. And it's like this. It lets you see UI and content in the real world. But it didn't always look as fancy as that. It was a prototype, and there weren't many available for us to use, and it was difficult to program for, to code stuff for. So we did a lot of research on how to interact with it with physical experimentation, like how do people interact with real-world things, because when you have this headset on, you see things right in front of you, right here, and so you naturally want to interact with your hands and touch them and press things and prod things. So we did a lot of research into how to interact.
Stefan tested the HoloLens. Big thing.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing. It's pretty expensive and not easy to get a hold of, but if you can get a chance to try a headset like Magic Leap or HoloLens, it's definitely something fun to try out.
And Sal Genovese, we're going to get there. We're going to talk about Project Aero in a second.
Okay, all right. So we did a lot of prototyping to understand how to interact with virtual content. And lots of wacky prototypes with like lasers on our fingers and glasses with tape on them and stuff, just to help us learn. You know, like learn by failing. Failing fast is important. So we just tried a lot of scrappy things.
This is so funny.
And I wasn't afraid to look a bit weird, and sometimes as an artist you have to be okay with being weird. So and we made some gloves that could fake a click or a pinch. And this is kind of where we ended up, where you can bloom to pull up your menu, target with your head, like a laser beam out of your head, and then tap with a tap like this. And you can move your content in the real world and understand things spatially, which was really the value of these tools, was to see things in the real world at scale. And we did lots of testing and experimentation on how UI should look, where controls should be, and where text labels should be. So it was really fun. I got to use this cool device a lot. And a highlight for me was that NASA sent 2 up to the space station, and something I worked on was used by astronauts in space, and here you can see them looking and tapping and using some of the interactions that I helped design.
That must be crazy, like augmented reality in zero gravity.
I'm wondering, it's super surreal, and to see them, just like wobbling around like that in zero G. But as Erin mentioned, Pokemon Go is something that a lot of people have used. Millions of people have used it. I don't, again, I'm similar. I haven't gotten into Pokemon Go, but it was really popular, and it was a way for every person to get into AR, to augmented reality. And it made it accessible, and that's really exciting to me. There's, Memoji, or Android has their own version, and so does Facebook, where you can put a virtual face on yourself and have an avatar. And there's even trying on shoes in augmented reality, which is super fun. This is the Wanna Kicks app, and you can just choose some shoes. And so I left Microsoft, actually, to come back to my creative tribe at Adobe. This is my second time at Adobe. And it was important to me to make these tools accessible and to take what I'd learned about spatial computing and bring it back and make it available to designers and creatives so they can easily do it. Because like Erin said, 3D is hard, and augmented reality is really hard. Yeah. You have to know this app called Unity, which requires you to know 3D, programming, all sorts of stuff. It's really hard. So that's why I'm here working on Project Aero.
And Keita says, Kim, please stay at Adobe this time.
Oh. Sure thing, we'll do that. So Project Aero is our new app that we're working on, and so it's in private beta right now. But basically it lets you put content on your device, your phone or your tablet, and drag it into the real world. So here we can see Dimension, and as Erin showed, you can style it and make it look cool, and then you'll be able to put it into Aero and just drag that content into the real world and add interactivity and make things move and come alive. And so it's really this feeling here where you're like seeing this virtual stuff, and it can be delightful, like this art example here, and you can share it with different people.
And Simon says Unreal Engine, of course, as well.
Unreal as well, yes, but that's also pretty difficult.
Yeah.
So we want it to be as simple as like Erin showed with Dimension, where you have an asset and you just drag it into a canvas, and there you go, you have your creation, right? Maybe you want to see what this physical thing here looks like. So you have a 3D model and you drag it and you scale it, and you're like, what's the right size? Or you just want to see some art on a wall. This is some artwork by illustrator Dan Mumford, who does amazing posters. Definitely check out his work, Dan Mumford, his name's there. He took the aliens work that he's done and took all the PSD layers, all of the different transparent layers, and kind of spaced them out in space, and then used his phone to just like move through the scene and kind of create this really neat immersive look, right? So
yeah, what I love about this one is that it's not a 3D thing that you can actually see in AR. Like people like graphic designers, they can still take something in 2D and place it in the augmented reality.
Totally. Yeah, I think this is such a good example because we come from 2D design, graphic design backgrounds. We know how to use Photoshop. We know how to use Illustrator. And we can use the tools that we already know and make some really cool stuff in augmented reality. So really cool example from Dan Mumford here.
So Dan Mumford was on Adobe Live a couple of times.
Okay, cool. Well, so people may be familiar with him. And as I mentioned, we're also working on a thing we call behaviors. And behaviors is a way to add interactivity to your creation. So if you have something in the world and you just want it to say spin slowly and have that be something that's useful to you, you can add a behavior that just makes it spin. And we want it to be code-free, right? I think learning programming is yet another of those things that, like 3D, takes years of learning and it's very difficult. And so the behavior system is really about making it really easy to add lightweight interactivity, much like XD, right? XD is such a cool tool, and it lets you make interactive compositions and go between different types of scenes and different artboards. And this is kind of the ease of use that we want to have for Aero. So that's really
right,
exciting.
Kevin. That looks very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited too about these things that are happening.
Yep, and so you can go look up Project Aero on the web, and we have a private beta access, so you can put in your email address and sign up, and we pull in new people every so often to try out the app. So definitely, if you're interested, check it out. So here's something that I made yesterday.
Well,
I quickly put together a 3D model and put it into Dimension and added some materials to give it some color, and then put it out on the streets of the near the conference here in Barcelona. So it's really that easy to do some of the easy steps that Erin showed in her demo, drag it out with Aero into the world, and do some really interesting things and make some art or visualize some designs in the world.
Thank you, Tim, for putting in the link. Our moderator just put in the link to Project Aero.
Thank you.
So I think there's all exciting things that are happening. Do you
I think that's a good wrap up of the product there.
Let's wrap up.
Okay, all right.
Let's wrap up day one here at OFF in Barcelona, OFF 2019.
Super exciting.
Adobe Live. So yes, it's been a long day. Thank you for those of you who've been with us since the beginning. Of course, the program continues here on behance.net/live from our San Francisco studios. So stay tuned. It'll continue here. But tomorrow we have a full day again. We have Cabeza Patata. We have Eilul Duranag, Alex Daly. We have Sarah Alice, Will Patterson, Yael Weiser, Rick Ostenbrock from HP. They're going to be showing us some pretty cool stuff there as well. Javier Rodriguez Garcia from the studio Lobulo. And at 5 p.m. we're going to have Will McNeil from The Mill.
Ooh,
yeah.
They do such great work.
And I know, you talked about The Mill, or was it you?
Oh, the Mill did the opening
the
movie.
opening,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
they did the opening movie here at OFF 2019. So a long day tomorrow, and yes, Project Aero, not Arrow, okay? I don't want to see arrows around. A-E-R-O, okay? So thank you all in the chat. We're going to be back here live from Barcelona tomorrow morning, sharp at 11 a.m. Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you, and see you tomorrow.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.